Waterbridge Chairman and Five Point Infrastructure CEO David Capobianco is here in a Fox Business exclusive. You're really, and I was thinking about this, the silent partner in the oil boom, but you're not so silent after yesterday's IPO.
That's true, Liz. But first, just thank you for having me here. It's exciting to be here on the back of that IPO. We're really pleased to see our long-term vision become reality.
Okay, so what is your long-term vision? Because in the short term, we just explained what you do. You need to tell us what you're going to do.
Okay, well, the vision was originally that we took a business that was really a service business, and we turned it into an infrastructure business. But the next stage of this is going to take an infrastructure business and turn it to an environmental water management business, writ large.
What is environmental water business? Okay, so when you take that salty water that does have, I would imagine, some elements of oil and gas left over in it, where does it go, and what do you do that makes your process attractive?
So what we do is we gather it, we treat it, filter it, and send it back to producers to recycle is sort of the first order of strategy. But there's so much water produced in the Delaware Basin that you can't literally do that with everything. So the lion's share of that water today and for the foreseeable future is going to be disposed of in underground sequestration wells.
I want our viewers to just, for a second, because a lot of you, I'm sure, are sitting there saying, well, wait a minute, this isn't that exciting. You know, Dr. Scott Galloway of the podcast Pivot and Prof G, he is saying lately, don't go for the sexy, because sexy is risky. Go for infrastructure, kind of the somewhat boring stocks. I don't mean to offend you to say that.
I'm not offended.
But where do you make your money? Because that's what I think people want. You know, we have a very motivated investor audience that's dying to see sort of the next big thing.
Yeah, so water is critically important to energy infrastructure and to energy flowing, oil and gas flowing. And without water, everything gets shut in. So first of all, what we do is we enable the development of energy in the core basins of the world, or core basins of North America and West Texas. And Waterbridge's focus is on the Delaware Basin. So what we do is we enable that, and then we treat the water, we manage it, and manage it in a long-term sustainable way. So the value chain is based on being able to take the water from our producers, being able to allow them to execute upon their business, and then long-term being able to manage that water in a super sustainable way for an extended period of time.
We've actually seen, and it's been a hot IPO market, but a couple of infrastructure stocks that have gone public recently, like Flowco and Venture Global, they've actually struggled to maintain investor enthusiasm. I would imagine you don't want to be like them. So what do you do? How do you get that message out that people should pile in and remain enthusiastic?
Great question. So the reason we came public is to support our commercial development strategies, which will drive great growth for the business, one. But we also see an education process between ourselves and the market where we're showing the market how valuable this infrastructure really is. And over time, we expect a full re-rating of our sector to the point where people will recognize our contracts are every bit as good as gas gathering and processing contracts, but the moats around our business, the competitive barriers to entries we have are really superior, and they look a lot more like waste management type competitive advantages.
Well, Waterbridge, obviously, is inextricably linked to the oil and gas industry.
Yes.
The prices of both oil and natural gas have been falling pretty precipitously. I mean, if you look at, say, for example, natural gas, over the past several months, it has dropped. Same with crude oil. West Texas Intermediate down. We've got crude year to date down 7.5%. And therefore, I'm just wondering, does your success depend on the price of oil remaining at a certain level, or at least above a certain level?
Really, no. I mean, we have some awesome dynamics going on in the Delaware Basin. The first one is that the decline curve for water is more shallow than the decline curve for oil. So what that means is as a well ages, the water cut, or the water to oil ratio, goes up. The second piece is that the new areas of inventory that are being exploited, those areas are higher water cut benches. So the first areas, the first benches exploited were lower water, closer to the surface. And now with cube drilling, we're exploiting all these benches that have a much higher water to oil ratio. So the combination of those two means water will grow production. The production of water will grow faster than the production of oil, and particularly in the Delaware Basin. But if you even step back from that, long-term, oil development in the Permian Basin has to grow to keep the U.S. oil production flat, which will enable us to continue our energy security path.
David, before we go, there are two sibling companies here, LandBridge and PowerBridge. Really quickly, water is crucial to cooling data centers.
That's right.
I would imagine PowerBridge is delving into that. When can we start to see some action there?
So now you're talking about our ecosystem in the Delaware Basin. The combination is you have Waterbridge, you have LandBridge and PowerBridge. You also have our sequestration assets. So the way it works is Waterbridge has the customer relationships and is really the tip of the spear. It gathers the water, builds the infrastructure, and takes it to LandBridge's locations and disposes of it. LandBridge benefits because it has a predictable flow of royalties, and Waterbridge has a great place, a contiguous, vast amount of virgin pore space to take the water. So you have that dynamic. That's one important part of the ecosystem. The next piece that you point out with PowerBridge and data centers is you have in West Texas the best dynamics in the world for data centers.
Yeah.
You have very inexpensive gas. If you look at the gas price for the last 6 months of last year, it was negative 19 cents at the Waha hub, which is the West Texas hub. We have unlimited water through our Waterbridge platform, and we have vast amounts of surface throughout the whole basin, which aren't proximate to municipalities and population centers, which at first seems like it might be a negative, but ultimately, because we're not drawing power from those population centers, we're not drawing water from them, it's really the best place to develop and the lowest cost development.
We'll continue to watch it and watch PowerBridge, not just Waterbridge. Great to have you, David.
Thanks so much for having me, Liz.
And we are, I believe, the stock just turned positive.
Here we go.
There we go. While you were speaking, listen, I told you guys, boring is good for your portfolio sometimes. Thanks so much. Great to see you.
Thanks.